The best marketing asset in your business actually doesn't have anything to do with the product you sell or the service you offer. I've been in B2B marketing for the past 14 years, and the number one mistake that I see businesses make is they sell a product or a service. What you're actually selling is a solution to a problem that your customer has. And the best way to sell a solution is to tell a story. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly why storytelling is the highest leverage tool that you should be using in your business. We're going to talk about what stories actually convert and how to find stories that you already have in your back pocket. By the end of this video, you're going to have a clear framework on how to tell stories to other businesses, and most likely a list of stories that are just waiting to be told. Let's get started. So before we get into how to tell a good story, let's talk about why most B2B stories just don't land. The number one reason why a B2B story wouldn't resonate is because the hero of the story is either the brand or the product. Imagine a story in which you're talking about a microchip and it's in a computer and it's living its best life and it's doing all these things inside the computer. We don't get it. We don't understand what a microchip's life is because it's an inanimate object, right? People want to have a story about another person. So instead, you want to take the point of view of the human using the computer to do all these amazing things and what it was able to accomplish. That is a good story. There's a pain point, it's relatable, humans connect with other humans. 2, buyers don't buy because of what you do. They buy because of the transformation that you create in their life. And the number 3 reason why a story may not be resonating with your audience is because you're unintentionally creating a gap between the company's world, your world, and the buyer's world, their world. You need to make sure that you're taking the POV of the customer and not yourself. Remember that the company that can explain the problem better than anybody else, better than even the buyer can, that's the company that's going to win the deals. So now that we've talked about what doesn't work in storytelling, let's talk about what does work. What does a good story look like when you're telling it to another business? Well, a strong story has 3 components. It has a before state, it has a turning point, and then it has an end state. All those 3 things need to be very, very specific. Let's talk about the before state. When we think of about a before picture, you can't just say, oh, it was really inefficient. We were really struggling. No one cares. Like, that doesn't resonate at all. You need to be super, super specific. Something like, we had 17 spreadsheets and my boss had to text me every Monday morning at 7 a.m. where the latest numbers were. Something that makes you feel a little bit of panic and dread, something that maybe you've experienced before. Maybe someone's never experienced it, but the hyper specificity of it almost paints this story like you are there, you're living that fear, that dread, right? You need to create an emotion, and oftentimes it's a negative emotion. Next, let's talk about the turning point. The turning point is the straw that broke the camel's back. Maybe this is you were out of town for a family emergency and your team had to pick up the slack while you were gone. Maybe they were unable to pick up the slack. They didn't know where files were. They lost a client. Bad things happened, right? This is like the worst part of the story. And it leads to the happy ending. What happened after they found the solution? You have to show the contrast of how bad it got and then how amazing life is today. The more specific the problem is, the more likely you're going to be able to connect with your audience's pain points. Here's a mistake that most founders make. They think they don't have good stories or they're not good storytellers, but it's like any muscle or any skill. You have to practice looking for the stories, and those stories are everywhere if you just open your eyes. Every single client conversation is a potential story to be sharing with your audience. How did that conversation go? Or look at big picture. What were the conversations like in the beginning of your engagement, and what are the conversations with your client like now? I can imagine that they're drastically different than how you started your business with them. Start sifting through your email communications with your client. I'm sure there's loads of positive affirmations that your clients are giving you. The things that they're excited about, that's the story you want to start telling. And you want to know something? The best client stories are the ones where they almost didn't work with you, or things were really sticky in the beginning and you were able to turn things around. It really helps paint a clear picture of what your prospect is actually going through today. They need to hear what tipped the scale for your current client, because likely that's what's going to tip the scale for them. So here's your homework. I want you to think about your 3 favorite clients that you have right now. I want you to think about what that story would look like. What's the before, what's the turning point, and what's the after picture that you've created for them? That's the gold right there. By the way, if this is feeling totally overwhelming for you, click the link in the description below. This is exactly what we do for our clients. We take their great customer stories and we help them market those stories so that they can get more of the clients that they already love working with. So you have the story you want to tell. Now let's talk about what format you can use to tell that story. Most testimonials fail because we start out talking about all of the positive things. But as I mentioned earlier, we want to start with the problem. What's that before state? Let's flip the structure and talk about what's broken and then how the solution changed everything. Now remember, you probably care a little bit more about these stories than the person watching the video. One of the most important things you can do in storytelling is creating context. So by starting out with the problem, you're actually connecting with your prospective buyer. They're not sitting there thinking, I wonder what this company's clients think about them. No, they want to know, how does this apply to me? Now, context is the best way to do that. It gives them a moment of recognition. Today, video is the gold standard format for telling a story. Right now, AI is taking over the entire copy landscape, and most people are tired of it. Those stories that we read are pretty inauthentic, and they all just feel the same. But when we have video, we're able to bring this real human authenticity that you can't get in any other format right now. Now, just because video is the gold standard, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be using social proof in all of the areas of our marketing. We need to have those stars on Google. We need to have carousels and images all over our LinkedIn. And we definitely need those testimonial blocks across our website and the KPIs next to the conversion pages. Now, where we use social proof actually matters. We want to use more emotion-led stories and social proof when we're looking at LinkedIn and top of the funnel content. But when we get further down, that's when we need to start using a bit more logical social proof. You want to have those stats next to the forms for demo or chat with us. Your best stories need to be working across your entire funnel. And here's the thing that most people miss. One 20-minute conversation isn't just a video or a case study or a stat. We can actually use that conversation to fuel your entire marketing. Think about insight reports where you're using real customer language, real pain points, real triggers, really understanding why they chose to go with you over a competitor. That's the real gold. Think about it like an iceberg. The video is what you get and see on top, but the real value is underneath the surface of your marketing. A lot of marketing teams and founders look at case studies and testimonials as just this external thing that we have to get on our website, but it is so much more than that. It can really be the fuel behind the entire marketing engine. D2C companies cracked this code a long time ago, and they're selling $10, $15, $20 items. Meanwhile, you have to convey real trust to your buyers, and you're not using social proof in a way that people actually see it and actually can use it. No one is reading the case studies at the bottom of your website. The goal of your marketing should be to sound less like a company talking about itself and more like a community of people that have already solved real problems. Here's the thing, most businesses have amazing client success stories, but they're hiding. They're hiding in your email, they're hiding in Slack, they're hiding in client decks. The problem isn't that you don't have customer stories. It's that you're not capturing them in a way that is compelling or actually reaches the people that need to hear them. So to start, find one customer story today, find a way to tell it, and find a way to put it in front of the right people. If you want help turning your amazing customer stories into content that actually converts, click the link in the description below to book a call. And if you want a full walkthrough of how to capture and collect client testimonials that actually convert, that video is on the screen right now. It breaks down the whole process start to finish. See you there.